Imagine being born and before you can even talk, people already think you and everybody from your generation is cooked. Well, that is Gen Beta. The oldest member of Gen Beta should be about 2 years old right now. They're literally still toddlers, bro. And somehow they are already being called the most doomed generation to ever exist. Not because they did anything wrong, not because they're lazy, and it's not because they are even addicted to technology yet, but it's just because of the world that they are being born into. Bro, imagine being born in 2026 where AI is replacing jobs at alarming rates.
I just graduated like 2 weeks ago with a degree in computer science, and I've been specifically applying for kind of software engineering roles. So far I'd say I've applied to over 150 positions, and because like these companies are using AI to replace software engineering, like entry-level roles, it means that it's really hard and like really competitive to get these roles out of university.
Kids are getting screens before they can even walk. You think they are giving out iPads in the maternity ward or something. Parents are even more distracted or even more busier than they have ever been. Hence the reason why a lot of parents get their kids iPads earlier on, because they cannot be with their kids 24/7. And the housing situation, bro, let's not even go there. Let's not even talk about that right now. Today, I want to talk about why Gen Beta might be growing up with the worst starting point any modern generation has ever had. Like I said, just imagine being born in 2026, bro. Think about Gen Z. We remember a time when ChatGPT did not exist. We remember Googling homework. We remember teachers saying, do not use Wikipedia or you're going to fail the assignment. Like, even Gen Alpha can remember a time before AI. It may not have been for a long time, but they knew a world where AI wasn't as rampant as it is today. But for Gen Beta, however, that is a completely different story. They're probably going to ask AI questions before they ask another human being. I'm Gen Z and I'm already doing this. Imagine being 6 years old and having an AI tutor helping you with your homework, bro. Like, imagine AI reading bedtime stories, bro. It sounds crazy, but low-key, that might be what's going to happen, bro. Imagine AI helping your parents raise you, bro. Like, imagine just typing into ChatGPT at like 3 a.m. Why won't my kid fall asleep? Like, bro. To Gen Beta, all these things that I mentioned are going to be normal. They are going to be the norm. The scary part isn't even that AI exists. The scary part is that they will never know a life before AI, because Gen Beta is growing up with screens earlier than any previous generation. Yeah. I know that every generation literally says the same thing. They always say the younger generation is going to be addicted to screens. I mean, it was true for millennials. People said about Gen Z. People said it about Gen Alpha. But for Gen Beta, however, it is somewhat different, because some babies are literally watching YouTube before they can form full sentences, which is just crazy to me. Sometimes they are introduced almost immediately because they're just convenient. Like I said, parents are getting busier. Like, some of them, I know parenting is hard. I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but like, some parents really don't be trying to even look after their kids. They just feel it's easier to just shove an iPad in their face so the kids will leave them alone, which is honestly should be considered as abuse. I don't care. That should be abuse in my books. Like I said, I get it. Parenting is not the easiest job in the world. Nobody is perfect, but when a screen becomes the babysitter, the teacher, the entertainer, and sometimes maybe even a source of comfort to the kid, then that's where things start to get a little bit worrying, don't you think?
Why do you need two screens?
Because I can't watch YouTube on this one.
Why do you need to be so overstimulated that you need to watch two things at once, though?
I don't. I just like watching two things at once.
You're crazy, dude.
A lot of people love to joke that Gen Alpha can't focus for more than 10 seconds. Now imagine what Gen Beta is going to be like, except everything online becomes even shorter. AI-generated videos, instant entertainment, algorithms that knows exactly what keeps your attention. We're literally fighting against billion-dollar companies whose sole purpose is to keep them scrolling because they don't care. That's how they make their money. What's crazy to me is that some parents still do not want to accept the fact that giving a screen to a child whose brain is still developing is really detrimental to their overall health.
The American Academy of Pediatrics came out and said no screens before 3. And I'm like, that's still young.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a developing brain and you don't want their attention to require all the stimulation you get from the screen.
Like, think about it. Even me, when I started using TikTok, I noticed significant changes in my attention span. I used to be able to watch an hour YouTube videos. Whenever I'm active on TikTok, whenever I start doom scrolling, I lose the ability to read. I can't even edit when I start watching TikTok. But I realized that whenever I drop TikTok, like whenever I took a break, whenever I deleted the app, my attention span comes back, my motivation comes back. I overall feel better. I mean, teachers are already saying that Gen Alpha kids are difficult to handle. Just imagine what Gen Beta is going to be like. Speaking of which, there is a crazy high chance that Gen Beta is not going to have nearly the same experiences that we did, especially at school. For real, they're going to experience school in a completely different way than we did, because they're going to have things like AI to help them out. They're going to have more AI tutors, more personalized training, and overall less human interaction to begin with. Now, don't get me wrong, AI is not all bad. AI can actually make education better. Imagine if you're struggling with math, having someone explain it 10 different ways instantly makes it amazing. But there's just that human factor that AI is always missing. There's just something about having an actual teacher who understands that you're frustrated, who notices that you're probably having a bad day, and a teacher who encourages you. There's just something about that, honestly. No chatbot is going to replace that. Another one of my concerns with regards to Gen Beta is their futures. This is probably the first generation where parents genuinely do not know what job to recommend to their kids. Because for years, people have said, oh, just learn how to code, go into STEM, get a degree, which was horseshit, by the way. People who went into STEM and got degrees now, they're jobless. They don't have jobs, bro. They don't have jobs. They're crypto boys. Right now, you cannot just get a degree and expect to earn six figures. It don't work like that, especially now that AI is changing the game. AI is changing things like programming, writing, designing, customer service, even some parts of medicine and law. Now, imagine trying to give career advice to a kid who is born in 2026, bro. Like, nobody actually knows what the job market is going to look like 20 years from now. The same advice that worked in the 90s, in the early 2000s, it's not going to work in 2026, bro. I promise you. And then there's the money aspect. Buying a house already feels like an impossible thing for a lot of Gen Zs. I think millennials genuinely were the last generation to experience a time where the overall cost of housing wasn't out of reach. It was like you could afford a house with a regular salary. But right now, rent keeps climbing, the cost of living keeps climbing, everything keeps climbing overall, except wages. Like, people are not really getting paid more. So it's almost impossible to afford housing these days on a regular salary. Bro, real shit, unless something changes, Gen Beta might grow up thinking that owning a house is just something rich people do. Now, before someone starts saying I'm just being negative, there is a bright side to things. Don't get me wrong. Gen Beta has a lot of advantages that other generations simply did not have, like unlimited information, AI tutors, medical advances. Gen Beta is probably going to live longer than us because there's going to be more advances in medicine and stuff like that. Like, we are already solving cancer. Who knows, maybe 40, 50 years from now, cancer is not even going to be lethal. It's just going to be like a common cold. Who knows? Like, and if they are taught how to use these tools in the future instead of depending on them, they could really end up becoming the smartest generation we have ever seen. So no, I do not think Gen Beta is doomed just because they are Gen Beta. No. I think they're at risk because of the environment that we are creating for them. They are basically a blank slate, bro. Like, the question isn't, will Gen Beta be successful? The question is, what kind of world are we handing over to them? Because one day they're going to look back at us the same way we look back at older generations and ask, what the fuck were you guys even thinking? But yeah, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Gen Beta is in actual trouble, or am I just an old man saying what every person says about the next generation? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, baby girls.